My project topic is Human Elephant Conflict and Forest Fire Susceptibility Assessment using Geospatial Techniques, a study of Muthanga Wildlife Range, Kerala. Introduction. Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary has 4 regions, namely Sultan Batheri, Muthanga, Kurchat and Tolpatti. In a survey conducted by Wildlife Institute of India in 2016, it was seen that about 67% of elephants were found to live outside protected areas in India, and currently it has risen to 80%. And on an average, more than 20 people are killed every year in wildlife attacks in Wayanad as man and animals are competing. And in Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary, there has been an increase in elephant population from 2002 to 2010 from 521 to 713. So the objectives of the study is to investigate the forest fire susceptibility of Muthanga forest range and also to analyze the human-elephant conflict areas. So this is the study area map. This is India, Kerala. Then here we have Wayanad, and in Wayanad here is Muthanga, and this is the elevation map of Muthanga, where high elevation is seen over these areas and low over these areas. Now the study area, Muthanga Wildlife Range has an area of about 87 kilometers square, and the main drainage is Nulpura, a tributary of Kabani, and it comes under Wayanad district in Batheri Taluk. So this is the flow chart that is for this study. For this study, first satellite imagery was downloaded. Dated 2021 February, and from this land use and NDVA was obtained, and then from a DEM slope and aspect were found out, and use the other data involved wind data, fire data, temperature data and rainfall data, and using all this by employing the statistical frequency ratio analysis, I was able to find the fire susceptibility map, and using the weighted overlay method involving about six thematic layers, I was able to obtain the HEC zone map. So this is the data set table, and in this the sentinel imagery was obtained from like downloaded from USGS Earth Explorer. Then the DEM was obtained from data nasa.go.in. From geomorphology, geology and soil was obtained from Bhukosh. Wind speed data from Global Wind Atlas. Temperature data from USGS Earth Explorer. Rainfall data from IMD. Fire data from data nasa.go.in. And HEC data from it was field data obtained from Muthanga Wildlife Range Office. And these are the two statistical methods employed. First is the frequency ratio method, and in this to obtain the frequency ratio index value for each class, first the number of percentage of pixels of the study area to the number of percentage of fire points that is overlaid on that area, considered area was calculated and the ratio was obtained. Weighted overlay method, it involved finding distance to agriculture, distance settlement, distance to road, distance to forest, distance, canopy density and elevation, and adding these layers in raster calculator and obtaining the final result. So this is the frequency ratio table used to analyze the fire susceptibility. First slope was considered, then aspect, then elevation, land use, NDVI, then geomorphology, lithology, soil, rain, temperature, wind, settlement, road, and finally drainage. And at the end, the final result, the final result for the final result for the fire susceptibility was obtained as follows. The map was reclassified as low, moderate, high, and very high fire susceptibility areas, and it was overlaid with the fire location points. So as you can see, these red areas shows where there is a very high risk of forest fire, and here and these regions are seen to have these fire location points in high numbers. So the study, as you can see, is in accordance with the obtained fire points from the NASA trusted site. So we were able to validate the fire points on the considered map. Now this is the human elephant conflict study, and for this, as already mentioned, this weighted overlay method was used. Here, distance to agriculture, distance to settlement, distance to road, canopy density, distance to forest elevation was obtained, and rankings were given. And seen that the lesser the distance to agriculture, the more were the human elephant conflict zones, and the distance to agriculture and distance to settlement, then and distance to road were given the first three weightage in decreasing order. Distance to agriculture was given the highest weightage, then distance settlement and distance to road. And on overlaying all these thematic layers, we should we were able to obtain that we were able to see that areas with high settlement and agriculture, and as well as roads where like, were areas of high risk, high human elephant conflict risk. And in this map also the HEC location points were overlaid, and we could see that it it had a positive correlation with what we had uh, analyzed. Now this is the map overlaid with HEC and fire location points, and in areas with agriculture and settlement, there has been a overlaying of this human elephant and fire points. It could be due to the fact that fire fire prone areas seems to have a grass undergrowth, that is new shoots, freshly grown new shoots, grass undergrowth, and in these areas these elephants have a tendency to go into these areas and feed on these new shoots, so such areas tend to be more elephant prone. And when these areas are close to the settlement or agricultural areas, and or with these road areas, humans can come in contact with these elephants, and hence human elephant conflict can arise. Now, so we come to the conclusion that the study area comprises of agricultural lands. As you can see, these black stretches of land, these are areas with agriculture and settlement, and these areas shows human elephant conflict and fire susceptibility. And so this validates that majority of HEC and forest fire incidents are mainly due to human intervention. So whenever humans try to intervene into the forest areas, due to their carelessness or due to them constructing um, settlements in forest fringe areas, there can be an increase in forest fires and in the forest, and this can deplete resources for the elephants inside the forest, and this can also lead to the elephants migrating towards the fringe areas in search of food and water, especially during drought seasons. This validation, therefore, management practices need to be deployed in these vulnerable sites. So, these are the areas where humans have tread into, or human intervention is in high numbers. So, these areas are vulnerable sites where management practices need to be employed. Then mitigation measures include bringing awareness among local people. Then guarding systems, solar fencing. In Muthanga range, the elephant ranges are uh, the means guarding systems in the form of elephant ranges are employed in high numbers, but solar fencing also is seen. Then to mitigate fire, we can have fire check lines. Then bamboo breaks. Muthanga is a place with a lot of bamboo plantations, or inside the forest the bamboo plants are seen. So bamboo breaks and fire check lines. So bamboo these check lines can also be made into practice. Then strict patrolling. Muthanga is seen. Muthanga has wildlife ranges associated, and these range officers can have strict patrolling in these areas to check the spreading of humans into the core zones or core forest zones. Then measures to ensure obedience to rules and regulations of the national park as a rule. So this because this comes under the Wayanad Wildlife Division or Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary, the measures to ensure the rules and regulations need to be followed, and people should be reminded of it now and then, and considerable actions taken against those who break the rules, especially um, in these places are seen so many tourist settlements or tourist hubs where there could be careless practices of people camping inside the forest and not putting out fires properly, or people using cigarettes and throwing cigarette stubs carelessly in the area, and these road areas where people can be quite careless when riding through the roads, and maybe throwing cigarette stubs and here and there. Then people uh, intentionally setting fire to forest lands so that they could do agriculture or burn the grasses for for the growth of herbal plants. Such kinds of practices are when such kinds of practices need to be checked, and measures to ensure the obedience the rules and regulations of the forest must be strictly followed. So this is my project topic, and hope it was helpful. And finally, thank you.